What was the king's peace in medieval Europe? Imagine living in a time when chaos could erupt at any moment, and the king's word was the only thing standing between order and disorder. That's where the idea of the king's peace comes in. It was a key part of how medieval kings kept control over their realms. The Latin term for it was pax regis, which means peace of the king. It was more than just a saying. It was a legal and political rule that gave the king the power to keep the peace and protect certain people, places, and times. At first, the king's peace was all about protecting the king's household and his close followers. If anyone harmed the king or his household, it was seen as a serious crime. Over time, this protection grew. It expanded to include important locations like churches, roads, and even special days such as religious holidays or coronation days. Kings like Ethelred and Knut made sure that these areas and times were under the king's special protection. The king's peace was not just a symbol. It had real legal power. Breaking the peace was treated as a crime as serious as treason or theft. When someone broke the peace, they could be tried in the king's courts. Officials like sheriffs and constables were responsible for enforcing it. The area around the royal court, called the verge of the court, was especially protected. This meant that disturbances or crimes within that zone could be dealt with swiftly by royal officials. This idea was a big step forward in how justice was managed. It moved away from local or tribal justice systems to a more unified legal system under the king's authority. When a king declared the entire kingdom to be under the king's peace, he was saying that law and order came from him. It was a way for the king to show he was the ultimate authority in keeping everyone safe. Practically, the king's peace meant that any crime or trouble anywhere in the kingdom was no longer just a local issue. It became a matter for the king himself. The king could also assign local officials to help keep the peace, creating a system that would eventually lead to modern law enforcement. In simple terms, the king's peace was the king's legal power to keep order and protect key people, places, and times. It was a foundation of medieval governance and justice. It showed that the king was the main protector of law and order in his realm, making sure everyone knew who was in charge of keeping peace.